Oh, man.
I think it's just this crappy chord. But works for now.
Good new chord here, and here's a chord. E flat minor 9. Thank you, everybody. Actually, I was doing a little thing here during a sound check. Let me see if I can try to recreate this. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tom's Guitar Show. They call me Guitar Tom because I'm often seen with a guitar, and they call me on the phone. They say, "Hey, man, what's your show about anyways?" It's about an hour. About guitar players and guitars. All things guitaristic. So here's the thing, I mean, it's normally a call-in show, but right now we're cable casting live from Uptown Bills Coffee House here near the epicenter of beautiful downtown Iowa City. Corner of South Dubuque and Lafayette, down by the tracks. You're welcome to stop down if you want. Watch it all happen. People ask me questions about the care and feeding of their guitar, how to play the guitar, what kind of guitar is right for you. Related topics like the guitarrón, sitar, chitole, lutes, ouds, vihuelas, banjos, balalaicas, bazookies, bajos, sextos, cavaquinhos, bandolims and mandolins and mandors and mandocellos, banjolins, and banjoleles, pipe organs and piccolos, clarinets, clavinets, and clavichords, pipe organs, piccolos, flutes and flugelhorns, trombones and trombomarinas, harpsichords and harmoniums, harmonicas, auto harps and pixie harps, did I say harmoniums? Anything you can make music on? Politics, world events, your own personality problems? We're here for you, but keep it clean. This is a family program. Oh, thanks. All of you. How's that for an intro? I was thinking about that, doing something like that, but I should probably write it, so it's good. Anyway, okay. So here we are live from Uptown Bills Coffee House, and it's a small crowd here this week, but this month, but quality over quantity, right? So, but anyway, every month, the last Tuesday of each month, we do a live Tom's Guitar Show cablecast from Uptown Bills Coffee House. So if you're out there somewhere and it's Tuesday, come on down. If it's 11 o'clock on Friday night, you missed it. It's a rerun, but this is live TV on Tuesday. So anyway, this week, I'm hearing little noises coming out of the speaker. Anyway, this week I'm doing my Stratocaster Spectacular that I've been thinking about, and I actually have acquired quite a few Stratocasters over the years. I say I'm very fond of this one, but I'm fond of that one over there, and that one back there too. Plus about a few more I have at home. But I brought these because they're all a little different. This one here is a Mexican Strat, and it's not been tampered with at all. It's the original condition. They're pretty much about half the price of the U.S.-made ones, and sometimes they're very similar in quality. This one's actually, I quite like this one, and I didn't mean to buy it, but I had an opportunity, and there it was, and I jumped on it. Hang on, I'm going to raise this. I know it's wrong, but make a little noise here. Here we go. There we go. See, I was leaning over too much. And, I'm hearing that sound. Okay, never mind. All right, so I've had this on the show, I think maybe when I got it a couple weeks ago. It has a double coil pickup at the bridge, humbucker, so it's like a... If you mix that with a middle pickup, it's like kind of cool. It's a nice sound. I'm playing this through my Fender Super Champ XD amp, which is a little tube amp. And I don't know if anybody else finds this funny. It's not really funny to me. But I played this in the show 2 weeks ago when I was doing a thing about noise reduction and so forth, and I had different electric guitars, and so it sounded really fine, I thought. So I really like my Super Champ XD. And then I took it home and I put it back where it belongs and plugged it in, and then 2 days later I turned it on again to teach a lesson with, and it would go sizzle, sizzle, pop, pop, sizzle, sizzle, pop, sizzle, pop, sizzle, pop. And I go, oh, man. So I took it into the shop, West Music actually, and I told the guy to, he said, probably a bad tube. But I think it was that, but see, the thing was, that was on Thursday, and I was here downstairs at PATV Thursday night, and I happened to have to go to a board meeting, and but then it was over, fairly early, and they were having a closed doors special sale at West Music, and hang on. So I had to drop off my amp to get it fixed, and I didn't want to go to the closed door special because, well, a buddy of mine who's one of the leading alcoholics in the community, and I don't want to use his name here, but he said he's got 3 ways to stay out of trouble. I know this is a family show, but he said, don't go in the bar, don't go in the bar, and don't go in the bar. But I went into West Music when they had a special, and I figured I was safe. I didn't have any money. I had a credit card, though. And this guitar was, actually only about $100 or maybe $75 more than a used Mexican guitar that I bought. This is a brand new American Stratocaster. And it's still out of tune. Anyway, so I bought it. Can't help myself. Thank you. That's a red Stratocaster. So, well, the upshot of my story is a new set of tubes in my tube amp cost me like $125. But life goes on. And, that's the thing with solid state. But Bob, do you have any pearls of wisdom you'd like to come up and share with us here? Perhaps maybe we got a cameraman here who can put. Perhaps he can make sure the camera's on you. Yeah.
I don't know how wise this is, but we'll see.
Oh, yeah. Is it family friendly or is it?
Yeah, it's family friendly.
Oh, okay.
Independence Day is coming up Saturday.
Yeah, tell us right in the mic there.
All right, yeah. I guess I should talk to the microphone. Yeah. Anyway, have you noticed there are no knock-knock jokes about America? Because freedom rings. What's red and white and black and blue? Uncle Sam falling down the stairs. General Washington's favorite tree was his infantry. When a redneck bursts into flames, that's a firecracker. The duck said bang because he was a firecracker. There's between a duck and George Washington. A duck has a bill on his face. George Washington has his face on a bill.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Well, not that good. Go ahead.
Paul Revere rode his horse from Boston to Lexington because it was too heavy for him to carry the horse. You're the one about the Liberty Bell? It cracked me up, too. Did George Washington fill his silo with the fodder of our country? What did one flag say to another flag? Nothing, it just waved.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's all I have tonight.
That's probably good enough
Yeah, that's,
for a month. We'll try it again next month, but a couple of those sound like young Tom's jokes over there, is it? But the flag's just waving? That sounds like one you tell. Yeah. He knew the answer to that one already, yeah. Oh, he said he let some jokes out and he picked them up. You know they can't hear you at home when you're over there. Yeah, but anyway, so speaking of words instead of music, I was thinking about, and I might have to do this, but there's some articles I've been reading. I was thinking about having a few paragraphs maybe read on the show by somebody, and I didn't bring them with me and telling you guys about what I was going to do. But there's this thing about music and the brain. That's an interesting. I'm very interested in this topic for some reason because I try to do music and I try to work my brain with mixed success. But so there's this thing about the there's a thing there's an article I was reading and I'm probably going to print it out and we're probably going to have to read it on the show sometime. We're going to devote some thing to music and the brain. And the thing is about this fellow who was had early onset Alzheimer's or whatever. He was diagnosed when he was 67. By the time he was 80 years old, he remembered very little of his life and didn't know what to do with a toothpaste tube, or a tube of toothpaste, shall we say. But he was in a choir for 40 years. So they get him up there in the choir, and he remembered everything, his baritone parts, sing perfectly in key. Not only did he get everything right, but he had all the inflections and the emotion behind everything. So when he was doing the music, they said that the music's the last thing to go. And so I find that very interesting, the structure of music in the brain. There's other things I've read that they say that you can put just like an ordinary laborer's brain and a mathematician's brain in jars, and they'll look the same. But if you put a musician's brain in the jar, you'll notice that certain parts of it are bigger. So you develop this mind, and I suppose I spend. I taught a banjo lesson earlier today, and I don't know if that improves the mind. I can only hope, but I mean, I'm a low-rent music instructor, but anyway, I find it very interesting. So there's a lot of interesting stuff about music and the mind, and how and the people like these theories, which might sound a little too weird, but they. The Age of Enlightenment and scientific discovery and so forth in the 18th century, that sort of like things shifted tremendously in the time of Bach, or Bach, if you prefer. And so some people say, was that because Bach, or in Iowa we call him Bach, was reflecting the what? Batch? Okay, yeah. But if he was reflecting, the change in the times, or if somehow he and other people, thinkers, were actually some zeitgeist, or actually kind of helping to, push things forward a little bit intellectually, like the age of reason and scientific discovery and so forth. So it's interesting, but. I'm just making jokes. Okay, all right, well. Anyway, thank you. That's my little red guitar here. I have another red guitar that's in the shop, and that'll be, with any luck, that'll be the last Stratocaster that I need to get, ever. You know, I got it quite some time ago, but I got it really cheap in the pawn shop, but I never liked the pickups, and the pick guard had, when you get a Fender, the Fender has like a pick guard in the top, and with the pickups and the knobs and everything are screwed onto. And so it comes with a little protective layer of plastic film, which is, adhesive, and you peel it off. Kind of like, Scotch tape, only, the size of a pickguard. But it had been left on for probably years, and it had sort of solidified onto it. So when I got the guitar, I took it apart, and I started peeling the stuff off, and I peeled it off for about half an hour. I spent another half an hour or so scrubbing it with Goo Gone, and I got to the point where it wasn't too bad. And I played it for a while. I had it in the show a couple of times. I really liked it. I really got it really cheap in the pawn shop because it had been, beat up. Some guy put the big eye screws in it instead of the strap buttons and stuff. So anyway, it was red with a maple neck like this one, made in Mexico. And a guitar that probably normally costs like $325 as a used Mexican Strat was 120 something, or 130, 129.95, something like, I forget what I paid, but something around there. And so I took it home and I filled up the big holes and put strap buttons back on it, and I cleaned it up and put new strings on it. And I really kind of liked it. One thing is because it was cheap, and I love a bargain. Because after all, a bargain is an item you can't use at a price you can't resist. But then I started getting restless with it. So it's been in the shop for a while, waiting to get 3 lace sensor pickups put on it. And I'm starting to name my guitars. And I was going to call this one Little Red for some reason. When I was a kid in 7th grade or something, this kid wrote a story for a class project he had to do. And it was Little Red the Riding Hood. Because in those days, hoodlums, they wanted motorcycles, and they were called hoods. So Little Red the Riding Hood, and she was a hood and had a motorcycle. And so I was going to call it Little Red. But because the pickups I'm having put on are kind of obnoxious. But anyway, okay, here I'm digressing. All right, I don't know what I'm going to do for fun for the rest of the show, but I'm going to try this third Stratocaster out here. Yeah, I just use a strap here. Hang on. So here's yet one more Mexican-made Fender Stratocaster that I got years ago, actually. I don't know how many, but maybe 5 years ago. I don't know, but had it sitting around. And I always liked it, the way, the feel of it and everything like that. But didn't particularly care for the pickups on it. See, this one's out of tune, too. Hey, that's not bad. Yeah, that's close. So I didn't really particularly care for the pickups, so I had it, I had it for years, but recently, I had the discolored white pick guard replaced with a black pick guard, which actually the thing is my red one that is in the shop is also going to have a black pick guard and black pickups. But that was the Fender. Anyway, I had the pickups replaced with, once again, lace sensors, and Lace was the guy's last name. He was some sort of an engineer. He's since passed on, but in the 70s he started to create improved pickups for Fender guitars, and Fender actually used his pickups in their guitars for a number of years. They're special edition guitars. So this is my bouquet of lace sensors. Let's see. Right. So at the bridge, I have burgundy. Right. And I have light blue. I forget what all these mean. I actually learned what they all meant because you see, the printing on them is different colors, and so that means something about how the way they're constructed, the way they're wired, and they sound different. This is my middle pickup, which I really like the sound of. Compare that with the bridge. Here's the two of them together. And then you have the, is it purple? Yeah, purple at the neck here. Which I think is quite beautiful, actually. And if I mix that with the middle one, Thank you. I just love them major 9 chords, man. Mr. Skopinski, sir, do you have a contribution for us here? Come on up. Yeah. It's a long time in coming, and here it is now. So.
Well, yes, initially this was going to be a Memorial Day project because the poem in question here is Joyce Kilmer, and I was looking for poetry suitable for Memorial Day, and he was a poet who was killed in World War I and had written before he died a number of poems related to war and commemorating people who have been killed in war. So that's how I was kind of, and I should say I was reminded of him because coming from New Jersey and having gone to Rutgers, Joyce Kilmer was born in New Brunswick, New Jersey, where Rutgers is. So I was familiar with him. There's also a Camp Kilmer. Well, it's mothballed now. It's not a military base anymore. But Camp Kilmer, which was named after him, a military base outside of New Brunswick, New Jersey, where Rutgers is. His father was actually a Johnson & Johnson chemist, and New Brunswick is the world headquarters for Johnson & Johnson, and he was the inventor of the Johnson & Johnson baby powder. And I remember there's a Joyce Kilmer Avenue in New Brunswick, and I do remember walking about town, his house. There was a plaque on his house that was on now Joyce Kilmer Avenue, and I can remember walking by there. And his famous poem is called Trees. And there was a tree in front of the house, and of course you walk by there and you wonder if that was the tree that he was referencing in his poem. It certainly wasn't. It couldn't have been a tree more than maybe 20 or 30 years old, and he lived there back before World War I, so it wasn't. But anyway, I do remember that. He attended Rutgers Prep School before going to Rutgers, and that's where he met his wife, Aileen, who was also a poet. He went to Rutgers one year. He did extremely well in school, but his Achilles heel was math. And apparently at Rutgers at the time, they had their curriculum included math, and he didn't do well in that. So he went on to Columbia University. But anyway, when he was at Rutgers, he was editor of the Targum, which is the Rutgers equivalent to the Daily Iowan, their campus newspaper. We used to call it the Mug Rat when we wanted to be critical of it, Targum backwards. I think Targum is a kind of an ink, maybe? I'm not sure. Anyway, he graduated from Columbia, and then after he graduated, he married his sweetheart from Rutgers Prep, Eileen. Then he had a bit of a literary career in the New York City area. He wrote for The Nation, for the New York Times. He worked for Funk and Wagnalls doing definitions for the dictionary. He was highly sought after as a public speaker, and because of his general fund of knowledge, especially when he was working for Funk and Wagnalls, he had to look into so many things to come up with definitions that he could actually extemporize very interesting talks to any number of audiences just because of his fund of knowledge. He was born into the Episcopal Church, and his family attended the Episcopal Church in New Brunswick, which dates back to the 1700s. And again, I can remember passing by there in my walkabouts in downtown New Brunswick. But one of his daughters died from polio, and he had reflected on his faith, and he converted to Catholicism at that time. So sometimes he's referred to as a Catholic poet. Then he went into the military for World War I. He actually asked for riskier duty than what he had, and he was working with intelligence, and he was on the front lines doing some reconnaissance, and he was killed by a sniper. And as I mentioned before, Camp Kilmer in New Jersey was named after him. I found out too, reading about Camp Kilmer, which is kind of interesting, again, having grown up in New Jersey. There were a number of hidden missile sites throughout New Jersey that were protecting the New York City area, and we've subsequently found out that there were nuclear missiles there too as well, which we never knew. As a matter of fact, one of these bases was maybe within 5 miles of my grandparents' house, and we didn't have a clue. But apparently they had a big, heavy structure there at Camp Kilmer that was kind of explosion-proof, where they would capable of working on the missiles and stuff if they needed repair. So, but like I say, now Camp Kilmer is closed down, and a lot of the property there now is taken over by Rutgers and used for other purposes. So, let's go on to the meat of the issue here, which is some of his poems. His literary reputation, kind of a minor figure. Some would consider his poetry somewhat trite. The poem that he's most known for, which is Trees, has often been lampooned, kind of considered like Hallmark greeting card kind of poetry and stuff. And I would have to concur for the most part. It's simple, somewhat sentimental poetry. But I think the gem of his poems is one about his experiences in World War I, and I'll read that next. But since Trees is his most noted poem, or his most widely known poem, let's start with that, a very simple, sentimental poem. I think that I shall never see a poem as lovely as a tree whose hungry mouth is pressed against the earth's sweet flowing breast, a tree that looks at God all day and lifts her leafy arms to pray, a tree that may in summer wear a nest of robins in her hair, upon whose bosom snow has lain, who intimately lives with rain. Poems are made by fools like me, but only God can make a tree. So that is Trees. The next poem I'd like to read is called Rouge Bouquet, and this is probably, if you search for Memorial Day poems, this is likely to come up, and I think it's a worthy poem, and it is quite appropriate for something like Memorial Day, but this is maybe a little heavier note than Trees, and it refers to an event his troop or his battalion was struck by those bombs that they used to use in World War I. They had huge bombs that would actually lift up the dirt, and it would actually bury people. And to this day, in this one strike that he's referring to, I think 29 guys were killed with one bomb, and some of them were never recovered. They were buried so deeply in the ground that they were never recovered. So that's the event, and he lost, a number of these people were people that he knew personally. So that's the event that he's referring to in this poem. And it's called Rouge Bouquet. In a wood they call the Rouge Bouquet, there is a new-made grave today, built by never a spade nor pick, yet covered with earth 10 meters thick. There lie many fighting men, dead in their youthful prime, never to laugh nor love again, nor taste the summertime. For death came flying through the air, and stopped his flight at the dugout stair, touched his prey and left them there, clay to clay. He hid their bodies stealthily in the soil of the land they sought to free, and fled away. Now over the grave, abrupt and clear, 3 volleys ring, and perhaps their brave young spirits hear the bugles sing, go to sleep, go to sleep. Slumber well where the shell screamed and fell, let your rifles rest on the muddy floor, you will not need them anymore. Dangers past, now at last, go to sleep. There is on earth no worthier grave to hold the bodies of the brave than this place of pain and pride, where they nobly fought and nobly died. Never fear, but in the skies, saints and angels stand, smiling with their holy eyes on this new-come band. St. Michael's sword darts through the air and touches the aureole on his hair, as he sees them stand saluting there, his stalwart sons. And Patrick, Bridget, Columkill rejoice that in veins of warriors still the Gael's blood runs. And up to heaven's doorway floats, from the wood called Rouge Bouquet, a delicate cloud of bugle notes that softly say, farewell, farewell. Comrades true, born anew, peace to you. Your souls shall be where the heroes are, and your memories shine like the morning star. Brave and dear, shield us here, farewell. So that's Rouge Bouquet. And I think that's a worthy poem. It'd be a very good one to read on Memorial Day. Just a couple of more if we have.
Running kind of short. But
Running kind of short. Okay, then let me cut to the quick. I brought one very quick poem by his wife, Aileen, whose poetry is actually, she's not well read anymore, kind of in obscurity, but I kind of noted that her poetry was a lot darker and edgier than his. I brought this one in. It's just 2 brief stanzas. It's called The Harp, because we have a musical show here. But it's kind of ironic and a little edgy here. I have a harp of many strings, but 2 are enough for me. One is for love and one is for death. And what would the third one be? Before I learn another note, I may forget and go. So while my hand is light and sure, I play on the strings I know. So that's a poem by his wife.
And the strings I know. Interesting. Well, very good. Okay, thank you. Rose bouquet would be a rouge bouquet, which rouge, of course, is red. So the red bouquet would be, well, we can only imagine what that would be. I would imagine it would be blood and guts, but... Oh, I'm sorry. It's kind of tropical here. Kind of a tropical feel. Let me do this. Thank you. We should have 7 minutes left. I thought we had less than that. Say, there's young Tom back there had a joke. I don't know if he wants to come up here and tell me that joke he told me earlier, because I can't remember it. You back there? Yeah, come on up and tell us that real quick, if you would. You can tell he's official because he has an apron on, you see, with a cup of coffee on it, or a picture of a cup of coffee on it. I don't know if you have any real coffee on there. Yeah.
Hello,
Hey,
welcome back. It's nice to have you
I'm here every month.
for your monthly.
I'm here more than once a month for different events, though, sometimes.
That's true. That's true. We always love to have you.
Oh, well, good.
So-
Haven't worn out my welcome yet, huh?
Nope, not yet. Let's see. Which joke did you want? Oh, what do you get when you cross a Rottweiler and a collie?
A Rottweiler and a collie.
Yes, a Rottweiler and a collie. A dog that bites you and then goes for help.
Yes. Lassie. Yeah, well, that's very good. Okay, well, thank you.
You're
That's
welcome.
Yeah. That's all he's got. Well, yeah, well, that's you have to have watched Lassie, though. Do you know Lassie was actually like more than 3? I think it's like 7. They're all brothers. Because the male dogs have more of coat, you know, more photogenic. So they were actually, you know, yeah, cross-dressers, yeah, portraying female dogs, but or a female dog. Since I fell for you. What are we looking at now there, Bob? A little over 2 minutes. Okay, well. Take me that long to get in tune. I have these they had these urge to sort of speak out about the Confederate flag. You know, people are, you know, I've been thinking they should retire it for years. Whenever I see a Confederate flag, you know, on somebody's car or something like that, I think of the pictures I've seen of lynchings, you know, postcard pictures of lynchings in the South, and they're flying that flag, and people talk about their heritage. And I've read the original documents, people, you know, saying what this, you know, what the struggle of the Civil War is about from the Southern side, and it's to preserve slavery. And that's just the truth. I mean, that's what it is. So, I mean, it shouldn't be forgotten about. But it's like the swastika and that flag. You know, it's a symbol. It means something. And what does it really mean? You know, so people talk about their heritage and say, well, if that were my heritage, I might want to try to live it down. So that's just, I mean, I don't know if I should express that opinion. I've seen a lot of people like country music, like to fly that rebel flag. I don't think so. Do something else. Just an opinion. Anyway.